morning, everyone. How you doing? Well, I decided I was going to do this video on the house because weather's too screwed up out there. We've got storms going on, and I don't want to get my equipment out there and start downpouring rain, you know. So, what the hell? Why not be in a home where it's warmer? And storm will be over with probably about a day or two, and I'll be back out in the woods. Let it dry out, you know. Anyway, nice to see y'all. I know I haven't been in front of the camera here for a while, huh? Yeah. Well, I've been trying to stay busy, buried my head in my research. What I'm going to do with you today is this. Oh, lately they've been bringing up a lot of talk and they've been doing a lot of TV shows lately on the Yeti. I think you both know that. Anyway, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set this thing straight right here, right now, okay? And I think other researchers need to understand this. Now, I've done extensive research on the Yeti myself, quite a while. I mean, you know, he caught my eye way before the Sasquatch did, okay? Let's get right down to it, Pat. I mean, let's get right to it. Here's the deal. Some of those researchers out there that study over the Yeti, I know they ain't gonna like what I'm gonna say, but hey, you know what? So be it. It is what it is, okay? Y'all ought to know me by now. It's a field researcher and a researcher. I don't in cryptology and anthropology. And I've done extensive years of study on the North American Sasquatch, but which I know really is nothing other than a hominin hybrid, okay? And why? Due to millenniums and millenniums of crossbreeding, okay? And through evolution, they become what they are today. Okay, I also have already told you what the origins were, all right? Now, the Yeti, it doesn't have any origins. Now, here's the bottom line. Number one, there has never ever been absolute proof of any kind of evidence whatsoever of the existence of the Yeti. And that's a fact. That's not hearsay, that's not my personal opinion, that's just a damn fact. I go by facts, okay? And like I always say, evidence and facts lead to the truth. It's undeniable. Now, here's a few reasons why such a creature is not going to exist and where they believe it exists in the Himalayas. All right? Number one, like the North American Sasquatch, which is a very large cryptid creature. It takes enormous amount of food to sustain these guys. Okay? When you're that large, and when you pack that kind of muscularity, hey, I know, as a bodybuilder and a competitor in bodybuilding, I know what it takes to create muscle and to build muscle. And these guys are so massive that it'll take just hundreds and hundreds of grams of protein to sustain that muscular mass. Okay? But in the North American Sasquatch, the areas where I have documented them, they have amped plenty of food to sustain themselves, okay? That's a given. That is why they do exist and why they are real and why they're here, okay? Now, you go to the Himalayas, when you go on those high elevations, as they say where it dwells, let me put it this way. Fact is, there is not enough food to sustain them. Something that size, like the North American Sasquatch, there just is not enough food to sustain them. Not only do they need large amounts of protein source, they're also going to need a certain amount of types of vegetation that they're it's a necessity to their diet. But some of that does not exist of where they believe they exist. Recently, Rick got me on this because I think it was the other day, I was watching Expedition X, Josh Gates, and I wish I could get a kick in the ass out of him, I really do. Seems to be a hell of a nice guy. But on this Yeti trip, I'm telling you right now, guys, you need to let it go. You really do, because you're chasing a ghost. Something that does not exist. And like I said, there is absolutely no proof of his existence. Absolutely no evidence. As I was watching the show, and they were covered up with all these evidence, footprints and such, right? I'm telling you right now, I'm sitting on my couch, I'm watching this, before they can do any kind of, before they can have the evidence analyzed. I'm watching it jolly on the spot, and I'm telling you right now, when they thought this was the footprints and they thought it might have been the Yeti, I'm looking at the footprints. It's frickin' bear, man. I knew that from the get-go. The hair they showed, that ain't it either. That was most likely probably bear too. The droppings. Now look I know what these hominin hybrids droppings are. I mean, my God, I'm one of the founders of the droppings, and that is a fact. That is on the internet, and that was not it either. Okay. The footprints in the snow, that was bear. Even to go back to the old photos that were taken, 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's exactly what it was. And why do I know that? Because I can track. I know the prints of most of the animals that are in the Sierra Mountains. I don't get confused, and I don't start tracking something that I know it's not what it is, but I know what it is. I could come across hair up here. I could tell you jolly on the spot pretty much what animal came from. And most likely the hair you find is mostly from some kind of mammal. Anyone from a small mammal to a medium-sized mammal, maybe to a large mammal. Now, let's get back to the Yeti. What I believe years ago, and I still do today, what I believe the Yeti really is, in reality, in the real world, is a bear. It always was. But that's just not a normal bear that we know of, okay? What I believe is the Yeti is nothing other than the product of crossbreeding, okay? Now, the way Mother Nature works, if you got two different species, but the fact is, if they're sexually compatible and can reproduce, well, hell, then they'll crossbreed. You know what I'm saying? So when you're crossbreeding, what do you create? You're creating 50% of this species, 50% of this species. If not, it's say maybe a 60-40, something like that. Sometimes that happens, but mostly what happens is you got 50% of each different species into one. So now you've got what you call a hybrid, okay? Now, this legend goes on for hundreds and hundreds of years, okay, in folklore, from eyewitness accounts and so forth. I know the Tibet people, they believe that this creature does exist, but I'm sorry, it just doesn't. What it has become is part of their culture, okay? And that's about what it's become. Other than that, it's always going to stay a myth and a legend, and that's it. I'm sorry, man, but that's just the way it is. That is a fact. Also, what I believe that a hybrid has been created that we know nothing about right now. Okay? And that will be a fact. I know what I'm talking about. Trust me on this. In due time, it will come out, and you're going to sit back and say, God damn, there it is. Danny Boy was right again. And because I know I am. But nonetheless, the truth will come out soon enough. Somewhere down the line, it will come out, and they will find a new type of hybrid species of bear. Trust me on this. This might even be a type of hybrid bear that might have come back from millenniums ago, from maybe existence from the prehistoric cave bear. They're huge. They were like twice the size of a grizzly known today. Now, imagine something like that all of a sudden decides to go biped, upright. My guess, this guy's going to be anywhere between, are you ready for this? Because he's a hybrid, he's been in the works for a while. He'll probably reach the height of anywhere between 10 plus feet. Maybe between 10 to 15 feet in height. Okay? Now, when you see something like this from a distance, or say all of a sudden you see a flash of something like this, it's walking by upright. And something that huge, it's going to weigh probably about anywhere from, I would say an average of probably about 1,500 pounds, maybe to up to 2,000 pounds in body weight. And of course he's all covered in hair. So when you see something that huge you've never seen before, because it doesn't exist in the area, okay? It doesn't exist in the Himalayas. So when you see such an entity, well, hell yeah, you're going to freak out. You're going to think, oh, Jesus Christ, it's a monster. But it's a mistake of identity, okay? And it happens. And I really can't blame them, because what the hell, who's ever seen a hybrid bear before like that? With the kind I'm talking about. Now, one thing we do know for a fact in science, it does happen, and it has happened. For instance, I think it was just a few years ago, where they had come across a bear that crossbreeded with a polar bear. And now he looked like he had the characteristics of a polar bear, but he had also the characteristics of a brown. There you go. And that's a fact. So, like I said, I'm sorry to all the researchers that do research on the Yeti. Keep chasing your ghost, because that's all you're going to be chasing. You know, it's just like researchers over, in North America that research on Sasquatch. Okay? I hate saying it, but I watch. And y'all doing it the wrong way, man. I mean, I don't get it. Well, I don't know why you guys all go out at night and you're just running all over the place. Oh, what's this? I see a shadow. I see eyes. And you're running right to it. What the hell are you doing? It don't work, guys. You got to get this through your noggins. It ain't going to get it. It don't work. And that's not how it works. Because all you're going to do is chase a ghost. That's all you're going to do. You're just going to chase. You're not going to get nowhere in it. And that's just the bottom line. I mean, hey, look at you. I'll just tell you all like it is, all right? So, Sorry if I popped somebody's bubble out there, broke your little heart. I apologize for that, but you know, you guys gotta listen to reason. You know, I don't know. You know, to be quite honest, I've been doing this field research and the research for 15 solid years now. 15 solid years. I have more time in the field doing research on the subject than anybody has ever done. That's a fact. Why is that? Because I get to spend a lot of time in the Sierra Mountains. A lot of time. I've lost how many hours I've clocked in the Sierra Mountains. And I'm about the only one that has actually tried. I have done research in about the whole length of the Sierra Mountains, which is over 400 feet in length. It's one of the largest cascades on the planet. So, and I will continue to do my research of the Sierra Mountains because I still stand my ground on, I still believe it's the most mysterious cascade of mountains in North America, if not on the planet. We got things that live up here in cryptology that we don't even know nothing about. And that's a fact. And the more I dig into it up here, who knows what I'm going to find. But I'll tell you what, if anybody's going to find anything, I guarantee it's going to be Danny Boy. Trust me, because I know what the hell I'm doing. Been doing it for years. So, anyway, I was just kind of getting amused about all this. So I kind of figured, well, you know, it's about time I was to just speak up and just nip this in the bud about the Yeti. So there you go. The Yeti is nothing other than he's a hybrid, but he's going to be a new type of hybrid we know nothing about. But like I said, in due time we will. Okay, I got that out of the way. Now, there's something that I wanted to tell you, because I forgot, I didn't get to do my little Halloween special I like doing once a year, you know. And I apologize for that, but I was a little under weather. I got sick, man. Oh, really bad. Popped that booger off though, so I'm okay now. Back to my ornery self. There was something I wanted to tell you on that day of Halloween, which I had plans on doing a video about. There was a incident that occurred a few years back, and I never told you guys this before, okay? It was a little bit after Garland passed away. Garland passed away in 2019. God bless his soul right now. And my more stuff. I wish Garland would have been with me that day, but he wasn't. I went into an area, I was doing some extensive research, and at this time all I had was my cameraman. I went back in this area that I've been doing the research in. I haven't been there, I guess a year had gone by. Now, this area I went into, it's a very high activity area. It's not around here. It's on the other side of the Sierra Mountains. So I'm not going to tell you where. A lot of things I keep secrets to myself. I don't share. This particular place is the place where I actually found a portal. And I know the portal existed. I have seen these hominins go in that direction towards that portal and just disappear. Just evade me, period. Made me really curious why. I figured it out when I found the portal. In this same area, this also has a high activity of UFO activity. And also, it has some rogue hominin hybrids that roam in that vicinity. Okay? So you have a lot of elements of different type of entities. And there's something always going on in this particular area. Now, the only way you could get to it is you have to park your vehicle off the mountain road, and then you gotta hike in about 10 miles. Something between 10 to 12 miles. It's a hell of a hike. Once you get back in there, you get off this one trail which cuts off to my right. Okay? Now, there's no way in hell you can get any kind of vehicle back there. It's impossible. You can't do it. Like I said, the only way you could do is hike it in for 12 miles. Now, every other times I've been in that area, with G and without G, and just the cameraman, I had never, ever, ever ran into one single human being. Not one. Not once. That's telling you how remote the area is. On this one particular day, late in the afternoon, I got up the trail, I went into the pines, right back into the forest, into the thickets, and when you come out the other side, there's like a clearing. It looks like a little meadow. Then it drops down. Where it drops down there, that's where some of the rogues roam around, the humming rogues. Once I went into the thickets of the pines and we broke out to the other side to the meadow, something caught my eye. I seen this different type of coloration that was all over the ground. When I broke into the meadow, what I came across was a horrific mess. What appeared to be was a campsite. And the size of the campsite is, like I said, you can't drive in there. Whoever set this camp up, they had to hike it in for that 12 miles to get to that point. And how did they know how to get to that point anyhow? The whole campsite was completely destroyed. I mean, it was a mess. It was as if something went in there on a rampage, in a rage, and just tore everything all to hell. And I'm not joking. It was a mess. Whatever happened there had to have been horrific as hell. I'm just telling you by all the evidence I was observing. When my cameraman when I got him in there with me, and I told him, I said, start the camera, I want to document all this. He took off on me. He ran out, man. He was scared. Completely went paranoid on me. And I said, hey, where you going, man? Get your ass back here. He just kept on going, so I had to go retrieve him. I had to calm him down. And so I brought him back into the campsite with me. He did not want to film this. In fact, he didn't want to be there. He wanted nothing to do with nothing. Okay? That's how horrific the scene was. Scared the living shit out of my cameraman. And that's not like him. I mean, he'll film about everything I want to film. Not this time. As I kept observing the campsite, I've noticed there was around 3 or 4 tents. I noticed there was another tent that was adjacent it to an area where I assume is where they prepped, cooked, and ate their food. From what I could tell of the evidence, there had to have been at least a half a dozen people that were in that campsite. At least a half a dozen. The area where they prepped the food and cooked it and ate was all destroyed. All the table that they had the food to prep it on was smashed to the ground. There was a stove, 2 stoves. One was a Coleman, a large Coleman stove, and they were both on the ground, smashed all to hell. All the tents were completely destroyed. The tent poles were all bent or just snapped in half. Every one of them. The material of the tents, it was if there was no bite marks, no claw marks, none of that whatsoever. But it was as if somebody grabbed the material by their hands and was just ripping it, shredding it. Okay? And just left it there. The food that they had was all over the place, just scattered all over. Now, you would think maybe a bear did it. There was no bear. I found no evidence of any bear whatsoever. I found no evidence of how those people got to and created that camp. There was absolutely no evidence that they left the camp. Period. I found nothing of a human being whatsoever. No evidence that they even existed there, except what was there. They just like disappeared or vanished. So I just gave you on the table kind of an ensemble of suspects. So you got to figure out what the hell do you think happened. You think maybe they were abducted by UFO? Do you think maybe one of these hybrid hominids went in there on a rampage, tore that camp out of hell? Possibility. They could have pissed one off. But the evidence really didn't point to that either. No bear. There's no other apex predator that would have caused that kind of damage. And I also know that the hybrid hominids up here in the Sierra Mountains, they are not cannibalistic. That's a fact. They are not cannibalistic. I have never found 1 ounce of evidence to show that. Period. They're carnivores, but they're not cannibals. So, what the hell happened to the people that were there? That's a big mystery, isn't it? And it always will be, because I don't have a clue and I don't know. But the fact remains is they vanished. Just plain disappeared. So, anyway, that was what I wanted to tell you when I did my Halloween special. So, I could say happy belated Halloween to y'all. Anyway, that's about all I wanted to say today. And I think that's about a wrap. So, till next time, I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one, man. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to say before I let you go. Do you believe in a shift changer? I don't know. You think they exist too? I don't know, but you know, right now, I feel a little strange. Why you guys looking at me so funny? Anyway, see you later. Gotta go. I got a hunger for some meat right now. Bye.